Welcome to episode 86 of Nobody Special.
In this episode, we talk about Halloween and Justification.
The Gospel Outpost presents a Nobody Special. Hey everyone, welcome to Nobody Special, two Nobodies talking about somebody who matters. I'm Danny, the host, and it's me, Mario, of Nobody Special.
And I'm Caleb, you're the host of Nobody Special. We are two nobodies trying to find God in pop culture, politics, and everything in between, all while not taking any of it too seriously.
Hey,
happy Halloween, Danny.
Hey, happy Halloween.
How are you feeling over there?
Well, alright, I was actually just thinking, churches and Halloween, they have a long-standing history of, kind of making things a bit complicated. Oh, is that good coffee?
Yeah,
it's good coffee today. Hold on.
You got it? You got it? For all you podcast listeners and not YouTube watchers...
Go check it out on YouTube and see what just happened. Here's the deal. I have I'm now self-conscious about the size of my upper lip.
Because the mustache
is actually covering my lower lip. And I'm going to be honest, I'm already self-conscious about my speech. So now we've added a lisp to it because I'm trying to avoid the mustache.
Right.
And it's not working.
Yeah.
I'm Mario.
Yeah.
Hey,
Danny is Mario.
Oh, what do you know? It was me the whole time.
What? Danny?
Oh.
Is that you?
All right, now who are you?
I'm a generic crew member from Alien.
Well,
kind of. So I got the whole jumpsuit on, and I also have a chest burster.
Mm-hmm.
Not coming out of my chest because I wanted to spare you guys from the gore of that side of my costume.
Oh yeah, I talked to the producer. He said that would get cut.
So I just have him a little plushy chest burster just hanging around my neck. So
I'm gonna be honest. I haven't watched Alien the movie. Or Aliens, or Aliens 3, or Prometheus, or the other one. I have heard a person describe as every time they put out a new Alien movie, you become thankful for the previous one for not being as bad as the one they put out. Now, yeah. I thought that was a bit harsh, but alright, I'll have to see them.
I like the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't mind Alien Covenant, but...
Which one was that?
That's the most recent one that came out.
I don't mean this to be offensive.
And I've heard Prometheus is good, although I haven't actually seen that one.
Is that the one they try and weaponize autism?
Huh?
Didn't they try and weaponize a mental disorder?
In what? The most recent one?
Yeah, in one of them.
I can't remember. I saw it when I was like 15.
I need to look that up because otherwise I really gotta cut out that
movie.
sentence. No, didn't they try? They tried to.
I mean, here's what I remember.
I really don't want to be wrong right now. Please say something. Hold on.
Here's what I remember.
Oh, boys
they
and
go
girls.
to this planet that they're trying to, farm, and then they get, the aliens breathed in, and then the chest burster comes out, and then, then you got the freaking alien running around in full size, killing everybody, and it's great. It's awesome. Classic horror movie fashion. I don't remember much about that. I mean, they do have androids. I mean, what are you talking about?
No, that was that was Predator. Sorry, that was Predator.
Okay, yeah.
That was
okay.
Yeah. Sorry. All right, so that gets to stay in because it's not offensive that I said it. It's a bit offensive that they did it.
Yeah.
No, so Halloween tends to be in the church world a time of unity and coming together with no arguments at all over silly things. So Christians are fighting over Halloween again, and
always happens.
Yeah, it happens every time. I think there's some clear guide as to what you should and shouldn't do on Halloween, and things churches should and shouldn't do. I know this has come up before, so we're not going to get into call it a fall festival kind of debate.
Oh, fall festival.
Because that's like, that's not even super biblical either. I mean, kinda like, I don't know. It's for the same cause that all of us don't go and celebrate Saturnalia, even though it's kind of Christmas or something. But I was thinking about it.
Right.
I think there are things churches can do to participate in Halloween, and to not be so stuffy about it. That's
so stuffy.
That's the sickness talking. I'm not feeling great, so this will be a doozy of an episode. So, all right. So first of all, I was thinking about it. The origins of Christmas. I know we have talked about it on this podcast.
Right.
It was a pagan thing, and we took it. Right? I mean, essentially. It was a pagan
tree,
thing. Yeah, all of that. It was pagan, and then it became ours, because that's what we do. Actually, it was taken to as a means of expressing gospel to people and that kind of thing. In the Christmas tree, I know I talked about this. It's still great. It started off, you would attach them to the ceiling, because bringing a tree indoors already doesn't make sense, so why not put it on the ceiling? Can we go back to that? I want to go back to that. Anyway. Why don't we do that with Halloween?
Yeah.
Because Jesus wasn't born on Christmas. All the the indications are he wasn't born anywhere near December 24th. It just happened to be a good time to talk about the coming of Christ based on cultural expectations. Okay, so Halloween. I wouldn't say either of us are praising the dead with these costumes.
No.
And I know, I've killed Mario many times. And he keeps coming back. Actually, in the new game, you can't even really kill him.
Yeah.
It's impossible to get a game over.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't tell us something about eternal life and Jesus, then I don't know what does.
Oh my gosh.
No, so I just got to thinking about this. Is there a way the church can take this as a day and communicate gospel through it?
I mean, yeah, I think that that's kind of what the fall festival is trying to do. And I think that, fall festivals aren't bad, you know. Like, as a kid, I much would rather, go trick-or-treating than go to a fall festival,
right.
being honest here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But it's like, because there's something about trick-or-treating. There's nothing bad about it,
Yeah.
You're going and getting tons of candy.
Right.
Who doesn't want to do that? I mean, our body should be at simple, so kids don't go too crazy.
Right.
But, I think it's a fun time.
Yeah.
To,
to be a part of a community.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
a community building activity.
And it's such a weird thing, because, I don't even know what Halloween is supposed to be celebrating, because I don't think half of us actually do.
No, that's the thing. It actually it has a history, or
it does have a history.
I did go through it, and I stopped learning about it because I said, no one does this. It's a day to celebrate the dead. It's like, not Elsa from Frozen. She's not doing that. And me dressing up as Elsa from Frozen isn't doing that either.
Wow.
Now, granted, there are, yeah, right. There are some practices I just think all of us need to let them go. No, all right, that's fine. We'll move on.
What?
Because I said Elsa and then let it go. I actually thought about that joke 4 hours ago. No, that's fine. We'll roll with it.
Danny.
There are some practices I think are witchcraft, no matter how they're spun. I mean, pulling out
Harry Potter. I'm just kidding.
Well, no, yeah,
no.
A Ouija board. That is just witchcraft. It's not a fun game. It's just a witchcraft. There's no other spin for that.
Yeah.
That's called a seance and is typically frowned upon in a biblical context. I can pull up sources, but honestly, I feel like I shouldn't have to. That should just be one of those things. All of us are like, yeah, witchcraft is bad biblically. So clearly those. Some of the more murdery costumes. Some of them cross the line, I think.
Murdery costumes?
Well, kind of the intention behind them. I don't know. I mean, there's a difference between going to a haunted house, which are kind of fun. I don't know. They're all right.
Yeah, they're fun.
And then there's that other place that just literally tortures you. It's like, it's a haunted house. Is it though? Is it?
Yeah.
It's
this
guy.
Yeah. Is that in Jacksonville? Is that
No. I saw a whole documentary on it. They can touch you. You can't touch them, and they'll pull hair out. They'll punch you. I mean, it's like, it's not a haunted house. It's just torture for 8 hours. That's one you have
to like sign the waiver for.
Yeah, but they actually start torturing before the waiver. So, I mean, I'm thinking if I'm going to make a quick $1 million, is that before I sign it, he punches me in the face, and then I'm like, ha, suing you.
Wow.
I mean, technically, I haven't signed it yet, but no, that's just torture. It's just torture.
Yeah.
So there's a difference. There's a line at some point between spooky, scary, and no, that's just abuse.
And I think there's something, and it falls into like horror movies as well. Is like, are you truly, trying to cause like fear in someone, or just trying to like spook them,
tell a great scary story? Yeah.
Like fear. That's why, like, when it comes to horror movies, I stay away from anything that's like demonic, just because it's real.
Right.
And like, but there's something that is fun about playing with your like mental emotions and like putting yourself through a roller coaster. I don't know why it's fun.
Yeah, a little bit.
I don't know why we do it to ourselves. Right. But it just is. And I feel like that's kind of where haunted houses come in as well. It's like it's a little amusement ride, basically. It's like a roller coaster.
I guess I don't enjoy them because I think jump scares are cheap. And I don't know how else to say that. Of course I'm going to jump. It's I'm walking and the thing I don't expect to happen comes at me fast. That's not fear. That's cheap. That's lazy. I don't know. So I guess that's my thought on haunted houses. Is like, a thing jumped out. Yeah, that's called normal human reaction. I don't know. So, but I got to thinking about it, and if I'm a missionary in a foreign country, and a person told me, hey, there's this weird cultural thing that one day in October, everyone comes to your house. I stop and go, excuse me? They come to me? It's like, they come to me? I don't go to them. They come to me. Yeah, but they're just trying to get a handout of free stuff that I can give them whatever I want. Wait. They come to me and I give them stuff and they're happy to receive it. That, to me, every missionary, they'd probably go insane if they understood, like, yeah, so I don't have to go to them individually. God is just bringing them to me, to my door, and then knocking stuff and then asking for me to give them stuff. So I know plenty of churches that are including small either gospel things or asking people to come to church through them, and I'm just like, what a fantastic idea. People are coming. Give them something, try something, instead of just kind of like, so here's a almond joy, but a mini almond joy, and it stinks because almond joys are terrible.
Whoa.
Yeah, they are. I'm sorry. And mounds. I said
mounds are bad.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about mounds.
It's just coconut and gross chocolate and gross coconut.
But almond joys, I used to hate almond joys, though.
I just enjoy almonds. I think you do too. I think that's all it is. Almonds are good.
No, I like the coconut aspect of it, actually. And I hate coconut. I hate coconut every other area. Like, I cannot stand coconut unless it's in an almond joy.
Interesting.
It is weird.
So I was just thinking to not take part of the dead worshipy parts, but also ask the community to come to church, or I mean, there's a few different things people can do. There are a few places I I know they'll do small cards, and I think those are fantastic. They're small and they're to the point. I know some other houses that they'll hand out whole tracts. Now, those are big and a bit TLDR, but
Tracts?
Hey, yeah.
What is that?
Oh, you're so young. Bible tracts are these things that at one point might have helped bring people to Christ, but would be totally inefficient now. Mm-hmm. They're kind of a miniature pocket gospel presentations in small booklets that you kind of go through to understand the gospel, typically the Roman road, and go from there. And they'd hand those out. Now, granted, that gets a bit pricey, and they had whole big page kind of pieces of paper, but overall, it was better than anything else anyone did. It's like they got candy and a teaching of the gospel.
Yeah.
Why can't we do that and just say, like, hey, God is bringing people to our doorstep. He's making it so easy on us. I'm going to take this holiday and give it to God.
Yeah, and I think that, like, also it's just it's a good way to, like, this may sound bad, but I mean, like, you don't always have to be all gospel straight in the people's face. And I think it's case by case, but like sometimes I think people react better by, just growing those relationships. Like I've always loved the people that, go sit out in front of their driveway in lawn chairs, and like have the bowl of candy, and they're just kind of like
and to get to know their neighbor and chill.
Yeah, right. You talk to your neighbors, and I think that it's a great time to grow relationships with those people. And to utilize that.
Absolutely.
And you don't always have to, force the gospel into people's faces, but kind of grow those relationships, and then through that, it is a more presentable gospel.
Right.
Which is not, like, that sounds terrible. Because, like, I think, and that's why I say it's case by case, because God uses stuff however he wants to.
Sure.
And, like, and if someone gets that booklet and they're like, wow.
Right.
This is what I want to do now.
Right.
That's God operates like that sometimes.
Sure. And I mean, to be fair and clear, I agree that if there's a house that is giving out candy and passing out ashes of the dead in some sort of satanic kind of a thing, maybe take your little Buzz Lightyear and skip that house this year. I mean, don't participate in that. That one's clear.
I've never seen that. Have you seen that?
No, but I mean, I get the objection of this is a day to worship the dead. I get that. I guess the point I'm kind of driving at is like, are we doing that though?
Right.
Like, are
exactly. No one does that anymore. Well, I know very few people that are like, yeah, I'm intentionally worshiping the dead.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I like to do.
Right.
And it's like
a community. It's a weird community.
It is
quirk.
weird. Yes.
This
I don't know
work.
why I enjoy it so much. I genuinely
don't. You really
don't.
do.
I enjoy this way too much.
You do.
Like, I got, pumpkin carving and,
It decked out your porch.
Yeah, I got spider webs on my door and on my balcony. And I don't know. There's just something that, like, I think it honestly came from Scooby-Doo for me. I grew up watching Scooby-Doo, and I loved, like, the horror mystery. And it was always, like, Halloween-y. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah,
but it was always Halloween-y.
Well, the ghouls and ghosts, but it's actually just Old Man Phillips.
Right. And that's why I kind of, like, enjoy... It's weird. I genuinely don't know. I can't wrap my head around it, but I do. It's like, I don't think ghosts... I don't believe in ghosts. I think that, there are demons and stuff.
The Holy Ghost.
Gosh. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think there are demons and stuff. I don't believe in ghosts. I don't think it's a thing. I think there are demons. And
that's kind of how I feel, is that I don't believe in ghosts because they're all the same. I mean, they're all 1800s and wearing those dresses, like they're the same kind of creepy though. So
I mean,
it's
like even like the bedsheet ghosts,
right? Like
there's just something so cute about them, and like all of these, I can't figure out what it is, but like all of these different stories, you got the headless horseman Frankenstein, and like there's something about them that is just like so.
I do enjoy the Sleepy Hollow story. I'm totally with you on that one. I will back you up on that. All versions of that, even the comedic cartoon, baller, including the weird Tim Burton one. Love it.
Yeah,
I'm a freak for that kind of stuff. It's weird, but
like Hocus Pocus and all this stuff, and I think
we lost me.
and it's like there's stuff like that, Casper, all this stuff, where it's like
Casper made me sad as a child.
It's these stories that are they don't go in line with the gospel and all this stuff, but it's not that's what it's about for
right
me. And I think that's where it comes out, like even with Harry Potter, that stuff. It is witchcraft.
It's the wizard debate.
It is witchcraft.
Are wizards biblical and okay? Well, Harry Potter, no. Narnia, a middle ground because she's bad. Mm-hmm. We don't know what to do with the Lord of the Rings. Because I've taken a hard stance on a wizards, but here's the wizard that definitely is a Jesus-type character in there. And I'm like, nuts!
And that's the thing.
Way to go, Inklings, you dumb turds. You ruined sci-fi for us Puritans.
And I'm still trying to figure out, it's like, I think it comes down to how you view it. Mm-hmm. And like,
right.
Are you praising that thing? Or like Hocus Pocus, or witches like yeah, I want to be a witch, to the point where like you're actually going to start practicing.
Right.
Don't watch that movie. It's like
right.
That's what it comes down to me is.
I mean, but
is
that's
when I start
that's the same
obsessing.
thing I say about alcoholics. Is if I think I could be an alcoholic easily, well then I'm probably not the guy called to minister to the bar. Mm-hmm. I mean, do you know what I mean? If I'm attracted to children, then maybe I shouldn't actually be a part of children's ministry. I mean, these are the things that it's kind of a know thyself kind of a thing, instead of, no, I can tell the difference, but a wand that I made on my own, like, yeah, buddy.
And that's why I think, like, as Christians, I think all of us are we are aware of stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I know tons of people, which I appreciate, where they know what stuff they should watch and what stuff they shouldn't watch.
Yeah.
But it's when we start pressuring that on the church as a whole. Like, and I don't think that, like, that's where it's such a fine line for me is, like, should we support all this stuff in the church when there might be, brothers and sisters in Christ out there that are, struggle with stuff like that.
Right.
And it's like...
So I think from a biblical context, if my going door-to-door trick-or-treating... Well, first of all, I can't go door-to-door trick-or-treating anymore unless I can borrow someone's child and pretend it's for them. But they're not getting the candy. I'm getting the candy.
Gosh.
With that said, if any of my friends who are health-conscious if I can borrow your kid, then Daddy wants some candy, and I'm fine saying that.
Oh, my gosh.
Tweet. Yeah, that's good. Good with that. Raisins,
I like the inflection on that.
Great work. And now let's go. But if it's gonna, I almost forgot what I was saying. If it's gonna be detrimental to someone's faith that I go trick or treating, then to be honest, I probably shouldn't go trick or treating. But if I'm just getting upset at everything that isn't the way I want it to be, that's a point I have to concede, is that I feel this, and because of that, I'm going to choose to not celebrate Halloween. And that's fine. If there's if you feel there is a moral problem in giving out candy to the community as they come through, and I understand I'm wording that a bit of a turd, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
If there is a thought that doing this isn't being true to God or to faith or Scripture, then by doing it, you're engaging a spirit of disobedience, and don't do that. But at the same time, kind of, I challenge, try and understand that this is a community thing, that the things I might be upset about probably aren't actually happening. Mm-hmm. And I think that's fair to say. And
also, like, even if you really do, you disagree fundamentally with Halloween, everything about it, I think that it's even more a case where you having your sober-mindedness about the whole thing,
Mm-hmm.
you should go in there and you should be the change in that community.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, I think, yeah, the gospel cards are great,
Yeah,
or even
absolutely.
just they're even going out and sitting in the driveway and getting to know your neighbors and being that light.
Absolutely.
I think is great.
Yeah.
And I think that's
Take this holiday for Jesus, who brings people back from the dead.
Bam.
If Christmas is our incarnation of God,
that is what this holiday can be, is recognizing our sin and pointing it to the Savior.
And our sin is scary.
Spooky sin.
The effect of that is gone when I'm in a Mario costume.
Yeah. This guy's like the only scary thing about this.
And he's kind of cute.
Yeah,
I'm going
he's
to be
kinda
honest.
cute.
Hello, I'm a little alien. I'm a bust out your chest. Caleb, is our pumpkin on fire? Do you smell that too? Is it on fire? Can you just check real quick? Yeah, I'm smelling the pump. Are we good?
We're good.
All right, we're good. Show continues.
You're smelling the pumpkin?
Yeah, I'm smelling the pumpkin a little bit. So, Caleb,
yes. That's not the end of the podcast.
No,
That's
I know.
What your voice was.
No, I'm just.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how to segue from Halloween to Justification. Hold on, I got it. Do you know what is scary? The eternal consequences of our sin if we stand condemned before God on Judgment Day.
Oh yeah.
That would be very scary.
It's pretty spooky.
Now this sounds like I'm making
making fun of it.
Making light of it. I'm not trying to. But we have a question. It really is. So we actually had a really good question come in.
Yes, we did.
And would you be interested in reading it for us?
I would love to. This is from Matthew H. My dudes, here's a fun question for you.
Proper greeting.
To kick around some time. Context. In Luke 18, Jesus tells a parable about a self-righteous guy and a tax collector praying at the temple. The tax collector simply asks God for mercy, while the self-righteous guy basically brags about how awesome he is. Jesus says that the tax collector went down to his house justified. Question. Does Jesus ever use this word elsewhere in the Gospels? How is it similar or different to Paul's usage of it? Are they referring to the same concept when they both use it? Obviously acknowledging that Paul is inspired by God, whom Jesus is in the flesh. That was parentheses. I'm trying to change my inflection. And and then he says, many thanks, and Caleb, avoid deep hits and space Ebola.
Yes.
I will.
Did you, though? Because you're currently dressed up as a spaceman that has an alien coming out of his chest.
That's kind of ironic.
So I guess that's our new definition of space Ebola.
Yeah, it's a chest burster.
Oh, his name is E.B.
E.B.?
E.B. Oh, little E.B. Oh, little space Ebola over there.
Gosh.
So in that parable in Luke 18, so, all right. Justification. The Greek word is a dikeo. Listen, I know I pronounced that wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I know who's going to hammer me on that, and I said bring it on. I'm good for it. And it kind of discusses our right standing. The word "or" it's based. It is brought up a couple other times in the Gospels. I think I counted 4 more times, and the usage of it tends to imply its kind of base of a meaning, that a thing is proved right or true or good. I mean, that's the idea of being justified, is that a thing is proven to be accurate or true, or in good standing, I guess is kind of the other context of that.
Yeah.
If I can't.
These gloves aren't working on the iPad.
Okay, sorry. I gotta swipe up because I took a lot of notes here. So it is brought up a couple of times, but it also tends to be brought up in the context of a wisdom, that a wisdom is proved true or justified by works or that kind of thing. That the expression of it is justified.
Right.
No, sorry. The act of wisdom is justified by the works that come after it. That was kind of a typical context of that. Overall, though, the biggest discussions of justification are going to be the whole book of Romans, just like all of it. Specific or everything up till chapter 12, but even then, just finish out. You got 4 more chapters. You're
Romans 8. If you need the just the go through on all that.
Also 3:6 and one of the other ones, but yeah, and then also a chapter in Galatians talks about it a fair amount also.
Yeah.
Any discussion of
basically
justification.
Paul.
Yeah.
Paul's
in those two, they were heavy into justification.
Yeah.
So any discussion of justification, you're going to have to come back to those to actually understand its meaning.
Yeah.
But did Jesus actually bring it up? Not in that context, because it was kind of difficult based on the crowd he was talking to. Jesus tended to talk a bunch to the Pharisees, so telling them about justification, that isn't a term he would have called them. He would have called them brood of vipers. They need to turn from their ways. They are very explicitly currently not justified by their works, and everything else, because justification comes by faith.
Yeah.
So overall, any productive kind of discussion of justification, you're going to go to Romans and Galatians.
Yeah.
So what is justification?
I think you just explained it, but that's basically when it comes to Christianity, that is what that is the purpose of Jesus dying on the cross for us, is so that there's a way for us to be justified.
Right.
And that through our faith, if we confess with our tongues that Jesus Christ is Lord and believe in our hearts, that we will be saved. And that's the faith part of it, that we need faith in order to be justified. And it's through grace that this is made possible, that God would have provided a way for us to be able to be reconciled. Is that the right word? Or not?
Yes. Brought back to him. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's what's so great about justification, and that's why everyone talks about it, is because that is what the gospel is all about.
Right.
And that's what Jesus came to do, and that's why we love him so much, is because it's just amazing.
Right. And justification, as far as that term goes, it tends to be pretty binary. A person is justified or they are not. There isn't a half justification or anything else. It's a status. It's I am justified or I am not justified.
Right.
I've always compared it to the other process of adoption, as far as coming to Christ and all that. I am claimed to be justified even though I am not, because of the work of Christ. And kind of the same thing in adoption. I am claimed as a child of God even though I previously had not been. There's a status change, and I can't be I'm half adopted. I can't be I'm half a child of God. I am a child of God or I am not a child of God. There isn't a middle ground there. I can't be a partial heir of Christ. I'm an heir of the Father. I either am or I'm not, and there's not a lot of middle ground on that.
And that's another cool thing. I was doing this video back when I had my apprenticeship, and I was playing a small, I think I was just doing audio on the shoot, and but it was these two people who had a bunch of foster kids and would adopt them. And what's cool about it is when you adopt a kid, their old birth certificate is destroyed. There's no I'm pretty sure it's actually burned. And so when you and then they get a new birth certificate with the name of their new parents, and there's no going back. That's you are a child of God, and that's such a cool representation that actual adoption shows.
I think in a few cases they do burn the birth certificate. In other cases, if there is a history of a necessary and important paperwork, I do know, because I have a few attorney friends, that there's a point in the process that everybody stops and says, okay, and now it's name change time. So every piece of paper comes to this point and stops, and there's a paper that goes their new name is this. And then every piece after that, then all the papers pick back up again. It's a new person has been created in this context, and then after that, everything goes after that. But they never go back to that old name because they aren't that person. Yeah. And that's for a couple of things. First, it's just kind to the child who's being adopted that, hey, no, this is a new day. Also, if you're an attorney, that's a loophole you can definitely exploit. Like, not a person anymore. You got me. Yeah. But that's kind of the idea of justification is being in a right standing. Right. And it's just a thing that I am declared justified or I'm not. The parable that he brought up is in Luke 18, 9 through 14. Do you want to give it a read?
Yeah,
I can start right there. 2 men.
2 men went up to the Wow, that was a rough start. 2 men went up into the temple to pray, one Pharisee and the other a tax collector. The Pharisee, standing by himself, prayed thus. What is this? Oh, it is ESV? Thus. Okay. Anyways, prayed thus. God, I thank you that I am not like other men. Wow. Extortioners. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Unjust, adulterers, or even like this tax collector. Wow, this guy's a jerk. I fast twice a week. I give tithes of all that I get, but the tax collector, standing far off, would not even lift up his eyes to heaven, but beat his breast, saying, God, be merciful to me, a sinner. I tell you, this man went down to his house justified, rather than the other. For everyone who exalts himself will be humbled, but the one who humbles himself will be exalted.
So, in this parable, he's kind of well, as I've said about parables in the past, if Jesus is telling a parable, he's probably trying to stick it to the Pharisees in a way that they can't really argue with, and good for him.
I know, right?
Like, hey, one of these people did a kindness to a stranger. Which one is the better one? They're like, well, we can't say. You got us. Everyone, turn around and Homer Simpson your way out the hedges in the back.
Yeah.
But in this, the idea of justification is it goes to the tax collector.
Yeah.
And not the guy that's doing everything right, quote unquote.
Right.
It goes to the guy that understood his actual standing before God.
Right.
And crying out to have the mercy of God.
Yeah. That's what I would say. Back to your question, that they are using the same definition.
Yeah,
100%, because
right.
For us to be justified, for us to truly recognize, and believe in our hearts and say with our tongues that Jesus Christ is Lord and Savior, that honestly only comes to a point where you realize that you are a sinner, and you are not capable of gaining salvation by yourself. That's not what it's about. It's what Jesus did, and that it
that's
takes
the opposite.
Humble. You need to be humble to do that.
Oh yeah, and that's the opposite of the thing the Pharisee did. He said, "I'm not an extortioner. I'm not unjust. I haven't committed adultery, and I'm not a tax." Like, it's all about everything they've done to be able to stand before the presence of God, and and they stood there and thought they actually did something to deserve it, and they didn't. That was the whole idea, is that they can't go justified because, okay, they're trying to base everything on their works. If that's true, their works aren't going to be able to justify an eternity in perfection and holiness. They can't do it. And to claim that they can is just irrational, stupid, and doesn't make any kind of sense to think I've earned eternity.
Yeah, but
I haven't earned tomorrow. I haven't earned today.
And that's
if God strikes me dead in the next 10 minutes, I'll be like, yeah, it kind of makes sense. Like,
that's this verse is kind of it's kind of spooky. This is season because we we, I would say a lot of us kind of default to that. That's
I'm
like a mindset,
Christian. Yeah,
right? That we start getting that on, kind of a higher pedestal in our hearts. That okay, as long as I'm a good person,
right?
And when that's not what it's about. Like,
what is a good person?
Like me trying to do all these things, not have sex before marriage, to not, get drunk, all these different things. It's scary, because that's not the point. And you truly have to examine yourself on where that is coming out of. Is this the fruits of me putting Jesus on the pedestal, and because he's on the pedestal, I want to do what he thinks is best for me, which is what it should be. But I mean, like, daily, I find myself going to just like in my head, it's like, oh no, I shouldn't do this because I need to be a good person, and that's just not true at all.
Oh, right, and it's a problem of putting the order of works prior to justification, or that works are the determinant of justification, and that's backwards.
Yeah.
A justification is expressed through works, but the justification happens first. I don't have to go and do sin because I have been justified. Yeah. I am out of the chains and the burden of sin because I have been justified first. Yeah. Because Christ took that payment first. Right. I then don't have to keep paying it. And because of that, I am open. I'm okay to not sin. Right. I'm free to not sin. I can chase God any place God is going, and know that that's okay.
And I mean, and I think it's important to know, like, we are also there's freedom to mess up, and because just because we are justified, and when we're on this earth, we're still going through sanctification, and it's gonna be rough, like and I'm sure we can both attest, there's days that it just goes terrible, you know? You're just like angry, you're being short with people, all these different things, and that's what's great about the gospel, is that even so, you're still justified, because it goes both ways, And
I mean, to be clear, that doesn't mean
go and sin,
right? Right. That doesn't mean like, all right, I'll do cocaine because Jesus will forgive me. Well, no, that's willful disobedience, and that is a problem of the heart. And at that point,
this may, I may be speaking too much here, but if that's truly where you're at, like, you need to, like, are you actually...
I'll say it, call into question your faith. I'll say it.
Yeah, call into question...
I'll say harsh things here.
Are you actually believing that Jesus is your Lord and Savior? Is that truly what you are... Right. It's not this ticket to, it's not a get out of jail card. Right. Because if you truly make that decision...
that I get to max out,
And I think... And I was in this place for a while, like, if that's truly, your decision, but, like, oftentimes I feel like people still, they don't know how to have that love for Jesus, how to put him on the throne, to truly, for him to be your Savior. And I saw this thing the other day, I don't know, it was on Facebook somewhere, but it's like in order for Jesus to be your Savior, you need to truly be thankful for what he did. Right. And I think that it's just, for me, it comes down to just praying, thank you, thank you, thank you. And until you understand the gravity of what Jesus did for you. And then at that point, I think it just starts flowing out. Yeah. And for some people that comes easier, and for some people you got to work towards that. But,
it kind of goes back towards that parable of the paying off of debts. And if a person pays off a $20 debt, I'm going to be thankful. But if a person pays off all my student loans, I'm going to be way more thankful to them because it's a greater cost. And people kind of, I think to a certain extent, they misinterpret that, because all this is a matter of perception. All of us have an infinite debt we can't pay that Christ paid. And until I understand the depth of the debt I carried, it's going to be difficult to praise God. And the cool part is that the more I think about it, the more I understand all the debt I had been in and how much Christ has paid. But the truth is, Christ paid. It's been paid. It's just me gaining a proper understanding of that debt.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good place to start is to understand everything that Christ died to set you free from, and to be honest and take that time to just stop and think, like, okay, I'm a sinner, but do I actually understand the depths of my sin? To take that time to think about that, but end in praise, because you can't just kind of stop at, like, I'm a sinner, because that's if you stop there, that's the enemy. That gets a person to say, yep, you're a sinner and stand condemned. It's like, no, you don't, though, because justified came first.
Yes.
You are justified as a sinner to not be a sinner in order to not be a sinner. I don't know if that makes sense. If anyone wrote that down, send it back to me, because it felt good and I missed it.
Yeah. And, once again, I think it's, like, and I find myself just falling into this, like, on a weekly basis. I don't know if that's just me or if I'm going through, like, a period right now. But, like, now I'd love to hear your input, because it's like, I feel like anytime I take too long of a break out of the Word, or, get busy and I'm even forget to, like, pray sometimes, it's like I feel like I just forget, and I can't truly understand what Jesus actually did for me. It's like this mental barrier, and so, like, that's what I was saying. I think the best way for me to get out of that rut is obviously to jump back into the Word. Is obviously to keep on praying. And like you said, like, just keep on, like, praying. Like, I pray for God to be like, help me understand. I feel like that's the best way. Like, pray for understanding. For that to truly hit home to you again. Because it's something, like, I just think we forget too often, and I don't think it's, like, a bad thing to forget, as long as you remember what you felt the day it actually hit you.
Yeah, I mean, all the gospel presentations that Paul makes in the scripture, you kind of people tend to think these are for non-Christians, but all of those are written to churches. All the gospel presentations Paul did were written to churches. So there is this context that people who have come to know Christ still need that daily understanding of the gospel. And even though God isn't kind of departing or any of that, it's kind of the same thing as being in a crowd and not being able to find a mom as a child. It's terrifying. Probably, though, mom knows where you are. And
she's
isn't
just
or
playing games.
Well, no, I mean, I've wandered off, but and I got scared, and mom says, like, I'm over here. I'm like, oh, there you are. Actually, there's one time she's only 5 feet away, and I was terrified because I stopped following her.
Onto, like, the other, like, some random
that guy who looks like your dad. Sorry, Gary. I don't know. Who are you?
It's like a mixture of just awkwardness. You're terrified.
But you don't immediately let go, because it's like, I don't know, are you a safe adult? That's kind of what I'm looking for right now. It's kind of that. The more intentional I am about being in pursuit of God, the easier it is to grow in God, because I'm pursuing Him. So absolutely. And then I think the other thing out of this passage that I wanted to touch on is this idea of extending grace to other people. I mean, our job as Christians isn't to pass judgment or condemnation on people. To be honest, that one that goes to God, and it's easy to become the Pharisee going, it's like, well, I thank God I'm not the extortioner or that person. I thank God I'm not that person. And the church is just a collection of messed up people,
right,
all praising God together in order to say God is greater than our collective sin and loves us more than I'm able to understand.
Yeah.
And I can't judge a person as too sinful. Do you know what I mean? If they're trying to come to Christ, I need to not be a barrier to that by judging their actions. Now, granted, there's places to do that, but there's also ways to do that involve grace and discipline and love. But I mean, this is a problem that's come up in churches and student groups, that a person, oh my gosh, they do this, I can't, it's and they go to church and do that. It's like, the amount of things. This was always hard to know some of the private struggles of people, and then to hear them judge the open struggles of others, that I thought was kind of unfair, because I had more information than I probably should, and to watch them judge another person because of this, that's only a 3 or 4. Granted, it's still bad, but to know that they have an 8 or 9 that they're keeping under cover and just not getting in trouble for it, I thought, I don't know. All of us are the tax collector, even the Pharisees.
Yeah.
All of us need to be crying out, God, have a mercy on us. Instead of being the Pharisee, why not join arms together and just all agree that all of us are the tax collector?
Yep.
Cry out to God together. I mean,
some of us are the Pharisees. I mean, I would say there are those people out there, and they're welcome
but even
too.
the Pharisee is the tax collector. Do you know what I mean? They think, I think I'm not the tax collector. Yeah, but you kind of are. You are just a different tax collector.
Yeah, it's just different type of tax.
You're just a different type of messed up.
All these tax collectors out here.
I mean, that's the idea. Instead of judging people because they're sinners, why not all of us grab hands together and say, have mercy on all of us, God of the universe?
Yeah. Because
Isn't that easier? I mean...
Yeah. Because, like...
drug addicts need Christ, too, and people who swear need Christ, too.
This is an interesting thing, which we don't need to get into now. But it would
you
be
better not say it, because we're going to go.
But, like, I know some people who believe, like, that sin is like, once we are justified, that it no longer exists, which is like,
how you gonna rev me up?
I get the point, but like, I think we can all acknowledge that whether you believe that sin exists once you're justified or if it still exists, that no matter what, sin has consequences,
right?
Earthly consequences. If I do this,
thinking about the same thing.
But like, anyways, I don't know why I got into that, but that is an interesting topic. I think we should talk about it another time. I honestly have no idea.
Talk about. Are we talking about who I think we're talking about?
Who?
The group we're refusing to name on this podcast, because then people might go search out his YouTube.
I mean, well, yeah.
That reminds me, we're going on the downvote train later tonight. Choo choo, buckle up.
It is that, but like, I know like a lot lesser versions, and I find, and it's always interested me, because I've really, I believe that we are still sinners until we are fully reunited in heaven. And when we're on earth, that we still have the consequences of our sin, and that's what sanctification is for, is taking out that sin and stuffing God in. And
that's progressive sanctification, is shoving stuff out while pouring stuff in. And it takes time.
Yeah, it takes time. And I think that we can get darn close, if we truly are seeking God and are taking out the sin and stuffing God in. Like, I think that we can get close, but that is an interesting topic that I wanted to bring up for some reason, and I genuinely don't know why. But
no, it's good.
We should talk about that sometime.
Absolutely.
But yeah, justification. It's great.
Yeah, it's a good word. again,
Yeah.
do we actually answer questions on the? Did we
Yeah,
answer? Hold on.
I don't know if we answered.
Matthew, did we answer your questions? Email me, text me, call me. I think we
I feel
did.
like this show we just talk about questions and never answer them.
Like a good podcast.
Yeah.
Did Jesus ever use this word elsewhere in the Gospels? Kind of, sort of, but not really. How is it similar, different? It's not. Are they referring to the same concept? Conceptually, yes. Conceptually, they're referring to the same concept.
Yeah.
Because it's a legal term. Gosh. Wow. So it is possible to just answer these in 2 seconds.
How similar or different is? Yeah, I mean I would say it's 100%
like,
similar, in my opinion.
Well,
it
might vary.
It's presented in different ways.
Some of the cases it's brought up aren't in a salvation context. It's in a context of because it's a term that is in some cases.
I think it's fair to say in the Bible they're generally talking about salvation.
No, not in a few of them.
Not in a few of them.
I looked them all up in the Greek because I'm a huge nerd. But yeah, some of them it's just talking about the concept of being justified. As in a context
just
of
teaching the concept before
wisdom
actually
is
applying
proved,
it to salvation.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
It's
some of it isn't in a salvation context because it is a term that is based in the standing
defining
or
your
status.
terms before you present your argument, Paul, you sneaky little lawyer.
I mean, it wasn't teaching either. It was just this point is justified. Now that's not a saving point. It's just, but the concept is still the same. It's just the concept is being applied in a broader standard of salvation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I'm splitting hairs, specifically mustaches.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
Well, thank you for the question, Matthew M.
Yeah, that was great. And thank you for watching out for looking out for me in my space Ebola and
which
holes.
failed miserably.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I told people that you fell in a hole.
Yeah, I actually didn't know what that meant. I had to like text Danny. I was like, What is Matthew talking about?
Well, that's because you, like many people, don't listen to our show.
That is true. I hate podcasts and I don't listen.
Wow, I would have. I'm gonna bleep that one.
It's weird.
I might bleep that one. We'll see what happens. Well, thank you for the question, Caleb. If people have questions, where can they go?
You can go to gospel.outpost.com/nobodyspecial. You can either say hello or ask questions at the bottom of that page, or like Matthew, you can reach out to us on Facebook or Instagram and ask us questions there, whether it's a DM or a post. We don't care. Just get them to us because we love to hear from you guys.
Also, please check us out on iTunes and give us 5 stars or whatever. Do what you want. It's a free world, free country. And be sure and go to our YouTube channel, press the subscribe button, and smash the bell.
No.
Gently press the bell.
There you go.
Thank you.
We don't want to
ding the bell.
Ding the bell.
Ding the bell. Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
Also, we did get a question from Catherine, but so Matthew's question is serious. Also,
take off your mustache.
No, I'm good. Matthew's question is also a serious question, but I didn't want to answer Catherine's question while dressed up like turds.
Yeah.
Because it was tonally a little bit different, that I feel as if this would have detracted a little bit from the personal touch of the question.
A little bit disrespectful.
A little bit disrespectful to her question. So we're going to cover that next episode.
Yeah.
When we're dressed like
normal
functional human beings.
Yes.
Instead of whatever the heck this is.
Yeah.
I'm so upset because everything I wanted to dress up as, the costumes were like $130.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest. I was going to come dressed as a Fortnite character just so I could put Fortnite in the title. And
I'm glad you didn't.
Just for the clicks, baby. For the SEO. So please share our show to make up for that, because we don't spend money on advertising. Because the system is rigged against conservatives. No, I'm not going there.
Wow. I wasn't even listening to you, but I just have a feeling it just got weird.
I mean, it might be, but who knows? So anyway, I need to go to bed.
Yes,
I'm sorry. That's gonna do it for us today. I'm Danny.
I'm Caleb.
And we are Nobody's special.